Hello, and welcome to the Post About Ghosts podcast. I'm your co-host, Chellemo, and with me today I have Aidy.
Hello.
Hello, Aidy.
Hello.
What are we doing today?
We are talking about Phantom Hitchhikers, apparently.
We are.
Yes.
Got one of those in probably every city in the United States in some form or fashion. This is a very popular urban legend that has many, many arms and legs. How about you? Do you have any local stuff like that going on? I think is it one of your highways over there is supposed to be notoriously haunted.
Yeah, I think that's a place up in Scotland, and now, of course,
Yeah.
the actual name of the road completely slips my mind. But around here, not really, not round where I live. Strangely enough,
What is the one? Is it the M11 that's supposed to be super haunted or something? I can't remember.
I can't remember either. Whether it's hitchhikers or whether it's just sort of sightings,
Right.
I'm not too sure. But sort of around sort of my area, I've never really heard anything about that.
We've got one probably it's less than an hour drive from, maybe even less than a half hour drive from where I am. It's called Lydia's Bridge, and it's over close to Greensboro and Jamestown, in the High Point, Greensboro area of a little place called Jamestown. The Jamestown Bridge is known to be haunted, and the bridge that a lot of people thinks it is the new bridge. They've taken the original bridge out of use and moved it. And now what a lot of people think is the bridge is the railway bridge that goes over Main Street.
Yeah.
But just maybe 100 yards this way, that way. I don't know which direction, but it's literally you can walk from one to the other, no problem. Anybody could do it. It's right there. You can even see it. It's an old bridge that used to go over Highway 70.
Yeah.
And that's the actual bridge where people would see the phantom woman in white. I can't really find an origin story other than it's a woman in white that kind of goes along with the old urban legend story. There are people who claim that they've done some research and found possible connections to who this might be. Some of them, their names aren't even Lydia. So it's really hard to pinpoint exactly the origin story of where it came from. There is a supposedly true story that was published in a book called, it's a 1959 book called An Illustrated Guide to Ghosts and Mysterious Occurrences in the Old North State. And it supposedly has an interview with a guy named Burke Hardison.
Right.
And he supposedly was driving and he saw a woman in a white gown. She flags him down as he goes by. He stops and she lets her get in, gives her a ride. She asked for a ride to High Point.
Yeah.
To a specific address. And of course, the notes only have High Point. They don't say what the address was. I'd imagine they don't want people showing up there all the time because it's a real address in High Point. And he says he was taking the girl there and they pull up in front of the house. He gets out, goes around to let her out of the car, and she's not in there.
Yeah.
And at that point, he goes into the house. He's thinking, what just happened? Did she jump out real quick while I was walking around the car? So he goes up to the house and the woman comes to the door and she said, I'm really sorry. She said, you're looking for my daughter, Lydia. She died in a car accident last year. So supposedly he picked up Lydia and took the ghost home. The woman told him there that a lot of people do. She's like, you're not the first person to try to bring my daughter home. So, I kind of look for this to happen. anytime. But that's what I've got for local. I've actually been there and taken some pictures. Every single picture that I took of that bridge came out blurry. I didn't get a single picture that was in focus. And I don't know if that's paranormal or operator problem, but couldn't get a single picture that I would share.
No.
I'll look again and see if there's anything that I can put on the website. I'll try to put something.
I think you should put the ones that you've got that you showed me,
Yeah.
blurry or not.
Okay, well, that was weird. So, just as I was talking about getting all blurry images at Lydia's bridge, my Audacity crashed and froze. So, we are back from that little mishap. Paranormal or operator, I don't know.
PC.
But everything fell apart and we are back. So, but yeah, I will get what I have and put it up on the website for sure, just to let everybody see, because it is an interesting place. And Greensboro is really proud. I guess I should say Jamestown is really proud of their bridge because they've cleaned it up. You know, the old bridge used to have graffiti and it was just a mess and not very attractive to go visit, but it kept getting so much attention from visitors that the city went in, and I say city, some entity went in and fixed it all up, and they put lit paths that go right up to it, and there's a plaque there, and you can see the old bridge and the new bridge, and it points to the specific bridge that is attributed to the legend, and they've done a really nice job of making it a cool place for visitors to go and see. I did have to park a little ways away and walk down there just to note that the parking is a bit of a hike.
Yeah.
But if you can trek it, it's pretty cool to go see. The other urban legend that I can say most people over here would probably know nationally would be the tale of Resurrection Mary.
Yeah. The story of Resurrection Mary, apparently the first person to ever encounter her was a guy called Jerry Palas, if that's how you say his name, in the year 1939 at a Chicago dance hall where he was a regular. Now, he was there, and apparently he saw a young blonde woman and immediately asked her to dance. He learned a little about her, except that her name was Mary, and she lived in the south side of the town. He danced with her all night, and when it was time to leave, he offered her a ride home. So he takes her home. They go down Archer Road. Apparently that's not where she lived, but then she says that she wants to go down Archer Road, so they go there. Along the way, she then says stop here, which is in front of a place called Resurrection Cemetery, and Mary gets out of the car. Yeah, I know, right? Mary gets out of the car and then she just vanishes before his eyes, which would obviously leave you quite perplexed, upset, and a bit nonplussed as to what was going on.
I've heard one version of that story where he gets out to go find her and he finds the jacket that was hit. She was wearing his jacket, and he goes to find her and he finds his jacket hanging on a tombstone.
Right.
I've heard that variation.
Could well be. But in any event, the guy wanted to know more about the woman. So he drives to the house where Mary had said she lived.
Right.
And this is the next day. So he finds the house with no trouble at all. And the woman who answers the door is Mary's mother. And when Jerry, who is the guy who was giving her the ride home, asked if he could see the daughter, the woman told him that Mary had been dead for 5 years. So apparently that she'd been killed in a road incident in 1934. Very, very mysterious indeed.
Very similar to the Lydia story, with the fact that they do go on to the house
Yeah.
in both cases and find out then that she's a ghost. Very
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it was said that she was laid to rest in Resurrection Cemetery in her favourite white gown. And down the years, there have been various incidents where people have allegedly come across the spirit of Resurrection Mary. You know, there's pop a link up on the site. You can read the various other incidents that allegedly happened. But yeah, they all do seem to sort of tie around to that, you know, picking up somebody or seeing, you know, a young woman in a white gown. Yeah, I find it fascinating. What's so fascinating about the original story was the fact that the guy interacted with her throughout her whole evening. This wasn't just like a sighting or a few minutes. He's like, clearly he's there interacting, dancing with her, speaking with her.
I would never be right again.
Yeah, that's
after finding out.
Yeah, it's such a strange thing that there was a whole interaction going on. You know, like, it wasn't you see something at the side of the road. This is literally like effectively spending time with a real live person. What would be interesting to find out was, like, what I would have maybe asked the guy, was there any other interaction? Did anyone else interact with her? You know, did she go to the bar? Did you know, was there any sort of like physical interaction?
I would want to go straight back to the bar and say, did anybody see that girl I was with? Does anybody know who that was?
Yeah, because they're there all night. You'd think, though, that if there wasn't anybody else there, people would be kind of looking at him a bit weird.
Yeah, you would think so.
And somebody would have probably gone up to him in that period of time and probably would have challenged him as if he was all right.
Well, yeah, they would have cut him off, for sure.
I would have, you know, would have thought that would have been, you know, if he's there talking to himself and he's dancing with somebody. I mean, you know, some dances require you to actually hold the hand or have your arm around a dance partner or whatever.
Yeah.
If you're kind of got your hands out but there's nobody there, people would probably be looking at you a bit weird, and he might have been thinking, why are people looking at me a bit weird? You know, like, so I can only assume that everyone else saw her as well.
Yeah, you would think so.
Yeah. Are there any mirrors in this place? You know, like...
Oh, goodness.
But yeah, I thought that was an interesting one. And there was another one where a cab driver years later allegedly picked her up, and she'd got out and disappeared. And so she disappeared, I believe, into a building, and he gets out of the cab and goes into the building to chase her up because obviously she'd not paid the fare. And when he goes into the building, like, there was nobody there. You know, there was nobody in the building answering to that description. So she'd just vanished. So yeah, kind of really spooky.
Yeah, the thing that I find so interesting with these is when you go on the hunt for who the entity is, so many people can get almost there with a match, but just not quite get all the way there. You can say, okay, well, it could be. You can find contenders.
Yes.
But you can't really get to that one person and say, if it's a ghost, it's her.
Yeah.
And we watched a YouTube video. You and I did, Aidy, watched a YouTube video from the Grim Life Collective on YouTube.
Yes, we did.
I'll put a link to that as well. They've got great stuff. It's a couple that do different kind of, not necessarily all paranormal, but they do a lot of videos on location. Like, they'll do on location movie set places, things like that. And they've got some really good videos on YouTube. I highly recommend watching that channel if you're not watching it already, but it's called the Grim Life Collective. And they did a hunt for who Resurrection Mary is. They actually went up and did a video, showed their different ideas of who she might be.
Yes.
I won't give that away. If you want to check that out, you should go check it out. But they as well, they could get almost there.
Yeah.
And they found one that's their favorite of who they think it might be. But it's so hard to just put a person on these stories. I guess that's why they're called legends. And what I want, this is what I want. If you are a first person eyewitness to any of this, if you ever picked up a hitchhiker and they disappeared, we want you on this show. I don't care what language we have to learn to communicate. We want you on the show. If you are a first person, what do they call it in medical, first responder? If you are the first responder, please reach out to us. We want to tell your story.
Oh, God.
I would love that. Yeah. I would love someone to put a face on and say, I did this. This is what she looked like. I took her here. This is what happened. Make me famous, please. Come be on our show. There are a couple others that I found while I was looking into this phenomenon that were particularly interesting.
Yeah.
There is the legend of a red-headed hitchhiker on Route 44 in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And this happened, and Lord help me this week with pronunciations because none of them are being kind to me. I am going to say how it looks to be pronounced. I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but I will also put the proper spelling so you can figure out what I'm talking about in the show notes as well. But it's at the Seekonk Rehoboth line, and I'm assuming that's county line or city line. At the Seekonk Rehoboth line in Massachusetts, people claim to see a red-headed hitchhiker. And this is a man. This one isn't a woman in white. This is a man in flannel, actually. He has red hair and a beard. Most of the time he has a beard.
Yeah.
He is dressed in a red flannel shirt and either wearing jeans or work pants. There's various tellings of him. He'll either be in jeans or work pants.
So when you say most of the time he has a beard, are there occasions where he doesn't? Because that's weird.
Yeah, that is weird. And that's just the first of the weird things about this guy, because almost everyone that has a story about him has a different story about him in some way. There are many, many variations, and that is causing skeptics to say, you know what, this is just collective imagination and everybody's got a little piece in it. But sometimes he's well kept. Sometimes he's not. His clothes will be dirty. His hair is messed up. The biggest discrepancy that people have with this one is in the eyes.
Right.
He's had a million different eyes. Sometimes they're normal and they just give off a bad feeling. Other times he has black eyes. Sometimes his eyes glow. Sometimes they're yellow. You know, all kinds of different things going on with his eyes.
None of which, by the way, would make me allow them to get into my car.
Well, yeah, and see, there's even discrepancies on whether or not he gets in the car.
Oh.
Mostly when he does get in the car, he just sits there and stares at the driver and refuses to answer questions. You know, super, super creepy vibes going on. But other people claim that he's walked out in front of their car and they've thought they've hit him. They'll pull over and get out to look and they can't find anyone anywhere. Other people say, and this is a spooky one for me. Other people say they'll be driving along and they don't stop to pick him up, but he just randomly appears inside of the car instead of
Oh,
outside of the car.
that's naughty.
And that, oh, it is. And that reminds me, I used to work third shift at a yarn manufacturing place here in North Carolina, and I would have to drive along this long country road on the way to work every night. And it went past an old cemetery, a church and cemetery there up on like a little hill on the right hand side of the road. And every night I would go by that cemetery and get this creepy feeling that one of those ghosts was going to end up in my car with. I would just hold my breath going by that cemetery, like,
Just
please
turn
don't pick anybody up. Please don't pick anybody up. Please don't pick anybody up. So this one kind of really spooked me out.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what I would do. I would most likely have some kind of medical emergency if someone was just randomly in the car with me,
Yeah.
especially up front.
That would be
I might
very
be able
weird.
to contain myself and get out if they were behind, but if they popped up right beside me, it'd probably be game over right there.
Yeah.
Didn't you have a creepy feeling driving?
There was that. I used to like going out driving, and you've seen some of the narrow country roads that are unlit
Yeah.
when you were over here. And I used to like just putting music on, going back many years now, back into the 90s. I used to like to just go out for a drive at night sometimes, just put some music on.
Yeah.
And it was one occasion where, as I was going along, it was just like suddenly I became like hyper paranoid about looking in the rearview mirror. And almost like something in my mind was telling me, don't look in the rearview mirror because there'll be somebody in the back of your car. And of course I did.
I hate that.
Because it's me. And,
Yeah.
you know, the logical part of my brain is just like, that's not possible. So I did. And obviously there was nobody there, because I probably wouldn't be here today, because you've seen those are narrow country roads, but they're also fast roads to drive on. I probably would have gone straight off the road and down a ditch with the car on fire if that had been the case. But yeah, it was.
What are you doing to yourself? Why did you look?
Because I have to prove that I'm being ridiculous. You know me. I have to prove the fact that the logical real world is the really real world, and that somebody can't just teleport themselves into the back of my car. So yeah. But and it was like the minute I did that, obviously the sensation and the feeling went away. But what was weird is that like with you said you always felt that when you were going past the cemetery. I'd driven up and down that road so many times and never ever had that. And it wasn't like a situation where I'd been thinking about it beforehand or having a conversation maybe in the day with somebody about something like that. There was seeing a film or a TV show. There was absolutely no sort of existing situation leading up to it that would put me in that mindset. It was just like a very sudden thing. And then, of course, the minute I looked, it passed, and I never had it since. It was just in that moment, and I can't really explain it. Well, there obviously is an explanation. You just probably psyched yourself out in a moment, but
I don't know. I think there's something in it. It could be paranormal, it could be natural, but I think there's something in the environment that can give a bad feeling to a place at a particular time like that. Because one time I went to investigate the Lawson graves.
yeah.
For anyone not familiar, it was the graves of a family where on Christmas Eve, I guess 1929, I think it was, he killed his whole family.
Yeah.
And I went to visit those graves. And the first time I went, I was so terrified. There was just something that was making every hair stand up. I was terrified. I was so scared that I wouldn't even get out of the car or roll down the windows. I was taking pictures that I knew were going to be compromised because of the glass, through the glass windows, because I wouldn't even roll down the windows. I was just so terrified. And then the next year, I think at Halloween, we went back and it was a totally different vibe. I got
Yeah.
out, walked around, took pictures, found the graves, called the murderous father a scumbag, all that, just totally different feeling. And just because the only thing that was different was it was a different night.
Yeah.
So I think things are in the environment that science hasn't quite put a finger on yet.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you one thing. When I was doing a bit of research on this, when I was looking for anything in a roundabout, as like I said before, there wasn't anything with regards to Phantom Hitchhikers that I could see. But we do have, that's not to say that in the UK we do not have haunted roads. Phantom Hitchhikers, I couldn't really find anything for that, but I was saying earlier about the road in Scotland,
Yes.
which is the A75 in Scotland, and that was the one I was trying to think of earlier in the podcast. I did find it here now, which is supposedly the most haunted road in the UK. But what people tend to see is spectral animals, ghostly pedestrians, and also phantom vehicles as well, which is kind of an interesting one.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, and as I say, nothing really that anyone, or I've ever found anything about anyone picking anyone up. I think like that does tend to be more of the thing, like an event will happen and the nearby road, to like there's one here on a road called Platt Lane, which was the site of a Pretoria pit disaster, which claimed the lives of many miners in 1910. Numerous drivers have reported seeing like many pairs of ghoulish spectral eyes peering at them from the side of the road. Things like that tends to be more of the thing that we see. Spectral soldiers on the M6, that's another one. There was actually somebody with that one does make mention of a deranged female hitchhiker, but I can tell you now, in this country, no one will have stopped to pick her up. So, yeah. Most people, I mean, whether that's paranormal, in the UK, deranged female hitchhiker, that might not necessarily be
Could be
paranormal.
natural.
That's probably just a regular occurrence, which is nothing paranormal at all about it. Just, some local loony. But we do. There's like the Stockbridge bypass, which is between Sheffield and the Peak District. There's been sort of paranormal stuff going on there, medieval monk, ghost children, that kind of stuff. So we do have the sort of haunted highways in the UK. I mean, that's just a selection. You can get a list of them.
I think they all have a very similar basic origin. They're all a version of this phantom on the roadway.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that I found didn't necessarily have hitchhikers either. I found a story about taxi cab drivers in Japan picking up ghost passengers. And the article that I found was from the Bulletin.
Yeah.
And the Bulletin, if you're unfamiliar, it's a journal of Japanese Canadian history and culture, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah, and there's an article by Masaki Watanabe. This article mentions a sociology student that was interviewed named Yuka Kudou, I believe.
Right.
Kudou. I believe that's Kudou. Yuka Kudou. And she interviewed taxi drivers in one of the coastal towns that was hit heavy by the 2011 tsunami.
Right.
Just for anybody that's not familiar with that, the most devastating earthquake in Japanese history hit them on March 11th, 2011. And March 11th is my dad's birthday, by the way.
Right.
They were hit with an undersea earthquake about 45 miles east of the Tohoku region. It's been called the Great East Japan Earthquake because it was the most powerful ever recorded. And actually, it was the fourth most powerful earthquake to ever hit in the world.
Yeah.
So it was huge. It triggered a tsunami that had 130-foot waves, and 20,000 people died. It triggered a nuclear disaster. It was just a giant mess.
Yeah.
And since then, this sociology student has interviewed taxi drivers in one of those coastal towns that was hit really hard.
Yeah.
And phantom cab riders in Japan is older than this tsunami. It goes way back, but they have begun to mention a phenomenon since the tsunami where they will go and pick up a person who is soaking wet.
Yeah.
And they ask to be taken to an address. When the cab driver gets to the address, it's been completely destroyed. It was one of the places that were completely destroyed in the tsunami, and the person disappears.
Wow.
The intention of the article was to discuss how kind-hearted the people of Japan are.
Yeah.
And highlighting taxi cab drivers who, she said, every one of them said that they paid the fee themselves when the person disappeared. And one of the cab drivers actually said, my ghost passengers are my passengers just like my live passengers. So I start the meter, and when they disappear, I pay.
Wow.
I pay the fare. And I think that's just so fantastic that it's so interwoven into their culture.
Yeah.
The paranormal.
It's almost like there's no fear there at all.
Yeah.
It's that's pretty amazing. And it also makes you think as well, with that, they're not likely to be making the story up if it's costing them. People don't tend to do that, do they? They're not really putting themselves out of pocket. Why would they do that?
These days.
No, exactly.
Yeah. But I'll link to that article as well. But I found that very interesting. That it's such a part of the culture, an accepted part of the culture.
I'll give you the link as well, by the way, to the UK's most haunted roads, if we can put that one up there too. Because there is a number, but like I say, there's nothing with regards like a sort of legendary hitchhiker, but there's a lot of these places. There was one I do want to mention in particular is Pendle Hill, which of course was home to some of England's most infamous witch trials.
Right.
So yeah, that's another one in there. But yeah, it's just got a list of them, and obviously that's always a good jump off point for people to be able to go and look into these things more themselves.
Yeah. We'll have the beefed up show notes this week.
Yeah.
Got some good links.
Yeah.
And my original intention with Posts About Ghosts was to make a website where I have read posts about ghosts and I want to write posts about ghosts. The more I thought about it, I thought postaboutghosts.com. That is surely taken. That has to be taken by somebody.
Yeah.
Luckily enough, it wasn't. So naturally I jumped on that, and I just sat on the name for a while, and I thought, I could really do something with that. I could bring people who talk about the paranormal together. Like a show and tell of ghosts, all the posts on the internet about ghosts. I'm going to try to bring them all together and get people sharing their stories.
Yeah.
Because I think one of the things in today's world, a lot of tradition is dying. And that's kind of sad to me as a getting older person.
Yeah.
And that is one of the biggest traditions that I had with my dad was ghost stories and talking about haunted things and watching scary movies, and just want to bring that back.
Yeah. And also, like, as well, to try and encourage anyone who might have stories to share them with us
Yes,
that we can read out on the show.
absolutely.
As well, because, that's also, it's a great way of getting that stuff out there.
Yeah.
People's own personal accounts that, might not be found anywhere else. Those ones are always very, very interesting as well. And it's like, we were just talking about your sensation on your way to and from work. That thing with me, I mean, ultimately, yeah, I didn't see anything, but it was a feeling and it was weird. And it was, even things like that, they can be interesting because, there's might be a collective reasoning behind all of this that isn't just something that can be ascribed to, it's just a chemical reaction in your brain. There could be, like you said earlier, like in environmental things that go on that can affect you, because why all of a sudden is it a thing and then it's not?
Yeah.
And when you start to build up a portfolio of all of these things, that's when you can start to pick out common things that underlie throughout it all, and then that can give you some explanation as to the unexplained. That's how it works.
Yeah. All right then.
Yeah.
I think that's about all I've got on the I can't walk away without mentioning this. The Resurrection Mary story.
Yeah.
When we were investigating where this supposedly happened, this dance between the man and the lady, we found out that it happened at the O. Henry Ballroom.
Yeah.
Which burned down twice.
Yeah.
And they replaced it with Willowbrook Ballroom, which also burned down. Do you remember why Willowbrook burned down?
The information that was given was they were repairing a roof with a blowtorch and lit the place on fire.
Why is all I want to know. Why?
I'm not a construction person, and I'm sure that there must be a valid reason as to why they would be using a blowtorch on a roof to repair it. It might have something to do with, like, having to apply. I actually, it's just coming to my mind now because the neighbours across from us had a new roof put on years ago, and they were putting flashing, round where there was a chimney stack, where the tiles went around the chimney stack. Obviously, there's going to be a gap where water can get in, and they put, like, some form of flashing. Now, I think years ago it used to be lead. I don't know what they use now, but I think they used the blowtorch to seal. But what they didn't do, which was really important, because obviously this is the part you do towards the end of the job, they didn't burn the whole flaming building down. That house is still standing. So all I can say is that must have been one hell of a blowtorch.
It must have been. You cannot convince me that it's a good idea to go anywhere near a building that has burned down twice before with a blowtorch. I'm sorry. I mean,
generally speaking, when they said it was a blowtorch, I'm thinking, no, the blowtorch might have been involved.
I'm not going to.
But it can't possibly be the only thing. I mean, did it set like some kind of gas cylinder on fire? There has to have been something else, because that blowtorch would have had to have had the power of a napalm strike to burn an entire building down. I mean, it's quite localized and concentrated. The moment that little area catches fire, you go, oh, I'll put that out. The only time I could think that it could possibly have gotten out of control is if you went through a fuel line that was powering the blowtorch that literally exploded and lit the entire place on fire, like, instantly, and everyone, like, ran for it. Because there was probably like an oxygen cylinder or something like that. That is the only thing I can think of, because that is some effort to take out an entire building with a blowtorch. I would thought that would have been a recoverable incident at some point. So I don't think we were given the whole account of what caused the combustion when they just said they were repairing a roof with a blowtorch. It's like, there's something missing here, isn't there? There
has to be.
There's a key element to this you're not telling us. Oh yeah, because I just don't see that.
I'm just wondering now in the moment, was it a blowtorch incident every time? Because the first 2 times it burned down, it just says it burned down twice. And then it became the Willowbrook, which burned down due to
and it became a crater.
I'm just wondering if this is a problem with the same staff doing the same thing.
Well, hang on a minute though. Wasn't it like decades apart?
I have no idea. I don't think it was decades in between the renaming, but I'm not sure. But I want to know what's going on here with this place burning down.
That is something. And like I say, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a more in-depth explanation.
Yeah, I'd like to see the insurance report.
I was going to say the insurance documentation probably would say, yeah, actually, a blowtorch was involved, but the enormous gas cylinder that it ruptured that blew 3/4 of the building into the next county is probably the thing that they were omitting in that story. That's the story that the person who lit the roof on fire would say.
Yeah.
I was using a blowtorch and I turned around and the building was on fire and I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
That's the kind of explanation you get from the person that lit the thing on fire.
Yeah.
The part they're missing is I was actually using the blowtorch and I didn't realise I'd gone through a fuel line that was clearly what shouldn't have been anywhere near the blowtorch at the time of the incident. That's kind of what I'm thinking is the part that was missing there.
Could be right.
Yeah.
Well, moving on from that, you have a question for me.
Yes. But you're doing yours first.
I'm going
because
first.
I have a sense of that there's a stitch-up job going on with yours.
You know that in this particular episode, it could be no other question, because I am asking you, what would you do?
It could be many, many other questions. It doesn't have to be related to this episode at all.
I want to know. You're driving alone on one of your nights when you're out on your night drive and you got your music going in the car and you're on a country road and there is a woman in a white gown, long black hair.
Are we doing it in modern day? Is
modern
this modern day or is this back in the 90s?
No, this is, well, any way you want to do it. But she's there. Are you picking her up?
No, because I'm not falling for this game. If it's the modern day, which you just said it is now the modern day, I'm stopping the car and I'm getting my phone out and I'm calling for assistance and I'm going to remain there until somebody else comes and picks her up. And then I'll move on.
Well, that's no fun. How about the 90s?
No. At that particular point, I would have been single, so yeah, I probably would have stopped and picked her up because I wouldn't have been getting in trouble by some absolutely ludicrous question that was clearly designed to land me in trouble. but you know me all too well, and I don't fall for those things that easily. Because here's the thing, it's a choice between me being coming over as an immoral psychopath or getting in trouble with yourself on the subject. I know your game with that one.
Well, it's the 90s and you've picked her up, but that's kind of the boring part of the story. You know, the real question is not in the picking her up, but
Oh,
in
right.
the disappearance.
What would I do?
Where do you go with that? What would be your
Home.
reaction? Would you
Home.
continue on to the place and try to find out where she went,
No,
like
we're
as
going
seems to
home.
be?
Well, if she was in the car, then she suddenly vanished. She's
Yeah.
not going to be at the place where I'm going to, because she's, unless either way, she's possessed of some sort of special ability, and
Something's
I'm not going
on.
down that
You're
path.
not touching it.
Hell no, I'm going home. Going home.
Paranormal or otherwise.
Yeah, dealing with that. Safety first.
What have you got for me this week?
Right. See, I'm fair in my question of what you believe, because I could have really just sort of, knowing this was coming, I could have do you believe in the goodness of the human spirit? But however, I'm not going to do that to you because I'm nice. So here was my question. And it is very much tied into this week. And it ties into the fact that when we think of hauntings, we think of a place, don't we? You think of a static place, a building, a cemetery, anything. It's static. It's there. They talk of residual or intelligent, but it's always based at a location. That's why we have haunted houses and things like that. With these hitchhikers, though, it's quite clear that it isn't attached to a particular place. Now, this therefore leads me to my question. Do you believe that ghosts can be transported from one location to another? And if so, why has it been that anybody that's seen any kind of ghost or anything like that at a particular location, why does it never come into account that when they don't find anything, could it be that the ghost is at an alternative location? If they can move, if they're not necessarily tied to a place, if they can freely move like the living can, isn't there some, do you believe that therefore there's some kind of thought process behind the fact that they aren't necessarily tied to one place? And that the reason why when sometimes people do go into a place and it's haunted and then another party goes and it's not, it's simply because they are literally just not there. It's not that they're sort of not coming out to play kind of thing. It's literally that they are just not there, that they are only there at certain times, which would have been the times that they would have been there when they were alive.
Right. So I believe, first of all, that if a ghost is a spirit of a person, then that ghost has the potential to manifest anywhere that person was.
Yeah.
I believe if it is a thing that is, if the ultimate answer is a human spirit, I believe that it's due to the energy that they leave behind in the places that they are. And I believe what could be considered moving around would be where the person is that is receptive to that energy, if you know what I mean. I believe certain people are more receptive to the energy or to the phenomenon than others, just like with any other skill or talent, whatever you want to call it. Some people are just better at it than others. And I think people are fine tuned. And I think when you get a combination of a fine tuned person and extra energy where something extra happened,
Yeah.
I guess it would be. Maybe some people are so receptive that they can see a ghost of a person that just walked by. I don't know. But I would say that if there's a combination, it's something exceptional that happened and an exceptional person receiving that action combined also with an exceptional time of year or day or whatever. I think there's a lot of things that go in there.
Yeah.
And when they all line up just right, I believe that ghosts can, be seen anywhere they ever were. I
Yeah.
don't know if I would say that they could show up somewhere that they've never been unless they are pulled in by someone receptive enough to pull them in. And the reason that I mentioned that is because I used to have a screensaver. And the funniest thing, it was Bonnie and Clyde. It was a real picture of them. And I don't know why they scared me as ghosts, but for some reason, I would leave my screensaver on my computer in my computer room, and I would lay awake at night and not be able to go to sleep because I thought, I'm thinking about them too much. I'm going to pull their ghosts into this house. And I had to change my screensaver to get over that. So I believe that you can, if you think about something enough, you can pull it to you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So with all that going on, I think that ghosts probably would appear to move around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, awesome.
Given that, I believe that two people could see the same ghost at the same time in two different places. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
There you go.
Is that it?
That's it.
Are we done?
Well, I am.
Well, I guess I might as well be then, unless I'm going to sit here and
Okay.
talk to myself. That's not a rarity. Thanks for listening, everybody. We hope you enjoyed the episode. We hope you come back for more. You can find all our social media accounts linked to the top right of our website, postsaboutghosts.com. You can listen to us anywhere you get your podcasts and also on the website.
Awesome.
Bye, guys.
Bye.